Hi and welcome to another gaming video, and in today's video I'm going to say don't buy an Analogue Pocket, buy one of these. This is a GameBoy Advance SP. Now I will start off by saying that the Analogue Pocket is a fantastic piece of kit, and it is great to see that someone has made a modern day Game Boy, but it comes at a price. And if all you're interested in is playing Game Boy games, Game Boy Color games and Game Boy Advance games on a slightly more modern feel, on a better kind of platform, then the Game Boy Advance SP does the trick, and it is at a fraction of the price. So let's just quickly look over the Analogue Pocket. It is a modern day Game Boy. It will play Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games out of the box, and when I say games I mean actual cartridges. That is the biggest difference between an Analogue Pocket and something like the Mayu Mini. The Analogue Pocket will play Nintendo cartridges. It's got a 3.5 inch LCD screen. I'm assuming it's IPS, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's got a 1600 by 1440 resolution. It's got a 4300 mAh battery, and it'll give you 6 to 10 hours of usage. It's got a 3.5mm headphone socket and the ability to link, so you can use a Game Boy link cable. That's it. That is all you really need to know if you're looking at buying a Analogue Pocket for the purposes of it being a modern day Game Boy. Then if we look at this is the Game Boy Advance SP. It has a 2.9 inch LCD with a resolution of 240 by 160. It's got a 600 mAh battery. However, that will give you 10 to 18 hours battery life. It doesn't have a 3.5mm headphone socket, but you can buy an adapter for that, and it does have a link cable or a link socket, so you can plug in a link cable. And if you are interested in playing Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games, then this will do pretty much what the Analogue Pocket does at a fraction of the price. Like I said, the Analogue Pocket is an amazing device, but it's going to set you back around £200 to £300 if you can find one, because they are so hard to find. Whereas you can pick up one of these. This is a Game Boy Advance SP, and it is the AGS 001, so it's the first gen model with the front lit screen, and you can pick them up for between £40 and £90. If you were to pick up a AGS 101 with the backlit screen, then you're looking somewhere between £90 and £150. Even that is far cheaper than an Analogue Pocket. And I'm going to keep repeating this: if all you want to do is play your Game Boy, Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance cartridges, then this will fill your need. It's got a rechargeable battery. It's got a battery life that lasts forever. The screen is a decent size. Okay, the resolution might not be as fantastic as the Analogue Pocket, but you're playing Game Boy games on it. It's lit, whether it's front or backlit, and you can pick them up for next to nothing. Where the Analogue Pocket comes into its own is, I'm pretty sure you can run ROMs on it, so you can emulate lots of other systems. You can buy extra cartridge adapters for things like the Neo Geo Pocket, the Atari Lynx and the Sega Game Gear, so you can physically plug those cartridges into that system, and that's something that this can't do. But if you're only interested in Game Boy games, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, then you can pick one of these up for £40 and save yourself an absolute fortune. Both systems have the hardware in them, so there's no emulation going on when you use one of these. Even if you're plugging a Game Boy or a Game Boy Color game into it, it's got the hardware built into it, so it's not emulated. And the same with the Analogue Pocket. I'm not entirely sure how it works. I know it's an FPGA system, so it's got the kind of hardware in it, rather than trying to emulate it and therefore giving less performance. But there you go. If you really are looking to play Game Boy games, then this is the best way to do it, and it's the cheapest way to do it. Analogue Pocket, yes, it's a fantastic device. It looks absolutely stunning, and I'm sure it's got more capabilities than I am aware of or that I've shared with you. but it comes at a price. Like I said, they're about £200 new, if you can find them new. I've seen them on sale on eBay and they're £340. That is an insane amount of money to pay for a little console that you could get the same experience or similar experience at something like this. So there you go. Don't buy an Analogue Pocket, buy a GameBoy Advance SP, save yourselves shed loads of money, and you've got genuine Nintendo hardware. Let me know what you think. Maybe I've missed something. Maybe there's something that the Analogue Pocket does that one of these can't. If we're talking about, on a small note, that the Analogue Pocket can play ROMs, etc., you could buy a flash cart for about £30 and store all of your games and Game Boy and Game Boy Color games on that, therefore sort of matching what the Analogue Pocket can do. There you go. I'll say it again. Don't buy an Analogue Pocket, buy a Game Boy Advance SP. Link, like, subscribe, enjoy.